Esta conferencia comenzará a grabarse.
Buenos días, Ramón. Buen día,
Buenos días,
Vasco.
Antonio.
Bom dia a todos. Bom dia.
Buenos días, José. Bienvenido.
¿Qué tal? Buenos días.
Buenos días, Carmen. Buen día, Aurora.
Hello, good morning.
Bonjour, Anaïs. Guten Morgen, Ulla.
Guten Morgen, Antonio.
Nice to see you.
Good to see
Buenos
you.
días. Buenos días, Eva.
Buenos días, Antonio. ¿Qué tal el fin de semana?
Bien, bien. He podido combinar un poco de descanso y un poco más, quiero decir. Trabajo, sí. But the situation is not so. I have still receiving calls from hospitals requesting materials, especially masks for the agencies. It's not solved as it seems in the newspaper and the video, the TV. It's still quite hot.
What I saw in the press this weekend, Antonio, is that what in Spain is called the hygienic mask, thanks to this collaboration with France. So now this is going ahead. Even the government is giving some advice on how to clean them to be reused.
That's very important. Yeah.
This is really important.
Does that mean that the French group that made that study came to a conclusion so that we can spread the news?
It was, in fact, the French government who published the standards of NOR, the normalization agency from France. Yeah, and there were some needs from Spain to contact them because they wanted to review some of the testing procedures. And so we worked to put them in contact very, very quickly because it was something like in 2 hours just to retrieve those testing reports and so on.
But I understood from someone there that also the reutilization, the cleaning, let's say, was in use. Is that what you're saying, or
There
only
are
the
some recommendations, but I don't think that they are based in. I don't know, but I don't think that they are based in the science study.
It would be really interesting if everyone could reuse the material.
Yeah. So we are waiting.
Well, it was just to clarify the question from Aurora. What I was referring to is that it's something that appeared in the Spanish press during the weekend. So once the standards were, France published these standards for the different types of masks. So the mask for the doctors, for the police, but also for the general public. And I was referring to the ones of the general public, which in Spain are called hygienic masks. And then the government issues some recommendations because these hygienic masks, they can be reused. They are done in a different way. So then the Spanish government issued several recommendations in order to clean them, how would be effective to reuse them. The recommendations in fact are two, very straightforward. One of them is that you have to wash them in the washing machine, temperature between 60 and 90 degrees. In a normal wash. And the second recommendation is that you put them in bleach. So they also give the proportion of bleach with respect to water, and that's it. So those are the two recommendations I saw for the mask for the general public that can be reused.
That's really interesting. Although hospitals could not follow the same rule, at least you save material from general use. Maybe you can concentrate money and and even material to hospitals. That's really great. Could you share that in here, please?
Yes, I will look for the reference because it's a public document from the Spanish government. It will be in Spanish, but okay, yeah. I can look for it.
That's the least problem.
Google Translator is our friend. Close friend.
Yes. Good morning, everybody. I think that also in Portugal there will be some news this week, and quite a lot of social masks will be in the market. That's information that I have from CITEB, the research center related with textiles in Portugal.
So today we have a special sessions. We are waiting for Slavek Tokarski. I think that he should join us soon. I hope. And as soon as he joins us, we will start. Okay. I saw in the records that he joined us past Saturday.
Yeah, I told him to do a test on Saturday.
He did it. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I text him and check whether he has a problem.
Okay, we will wait. But just for introducing this special session, we are not following the classical blocks, classical for us, classical 3 blocks of concepts, needs and solutions. We will make a review of what we have been discussing during the past 27 sessions or more, in fact. And we will have a common reflection on what or how can we improve the work that we are doing here, what is needed in the near future.
Antonio, sorry to interrupt you, Lucia speaking here. Would it be possible to have the slide that you put on the that I saw with the invitation and in Ula's tweet? Would it be possible to have it with a short text, summarizing so that we can make an article for BCCP and publish it and inform the large community about the activities you're doing?
For sure, Lucia, for sure. Thank you. You're welcome. Yeah, it's very important. We needed to do that exercise of summarizing and think about what we are doing. Okay, it's very, very important.
Yes, and I think the numbers are really impressive, and all this dialogue that is being carried out is is inspiring and with impact. Thank you.
Okay, so he just sent me a message. He has some Wi-Fi issues in the office because he does his shift. He's every second week in the office to use his private iPad because we can't use our commission computer for that. So he said, "Don't wait for me, so we can start." But I told him, if not, use your phone to join in. So I hope he will be very soon.
That will be, yeah, it's a pity, but cool. Okay, we will start. We will wait for sure. Okay, but we can start speaking out the general concept. Okay, so yes, this is a representation for sure, very small. What are we? Okay, and the concept comes from Jose Ramon, that is here between us. It's called share leadership. Okay, the idea comes also from Ilaria. Okay, that we should represent this as something like or also James told us this is something like a continuous is the meaning of the bar colors. Okay, so this is not just meeting between clusters, but the joining at the European level of a lot of different actors. In fact, those that, in my understanding, has been quicker in answering to the crisis. Okay, so hello. No. Okay, so we have here it's impossible to have all the logotypes. Okay, all the people involved, but the main idea is that we are joining a wide spectrum, wide continuum of different initiatives from those that came directly from the society, as Frena la Curva in Spain, or the Plano de Axao from Portugal, okay? My Life, the Scenes from Italy, and going through the business environments, being business ecosystem, the clusters ecosystem, industrial. In the middle, we have the social economic clusters, okay, and up to the ECCP and those DGs on the European Commission that are closely collaborating with us, I could say. Okay, so that's the idea. I don't know if Ilaria, would you comment on this idea, please?
Yeah, Antonio, maybe better on the next slide. The other one of the process, if you agree.
Okay. I was, yeah. Hello. Good morning, Slavek. Are you there? Can you hear us? I see that Slavek Tokarski is here in the list of users. Could you try to speak just to be sure that you are able to dialogue with us?
Maybe unmute. I think there is an unmute.
Yeah. We should wait just one moment. Could you try, please, perhaps to use the chat to tell us if you are able to hear us? Ula, perhaps could you ask him if he's able to hear, at least to hear?
Okay, I will check.
Yes,
Yeah, no, I get a message from him. He says, I hear, but I cannot speak.
Okay, if he has another phone, he could ask or call from the phone and have both the screen in the whatever he's using and speak by phone. If he's using, for example, an iPad, he could see the presentation in the iPad and phone through
Okay,
another line.
I will also repeat this via SMS to him. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. That's technology, and we are learning a lot. Yeah, part of the process, of the trip to digitalization. Okay. So we were speaking about what are we? We are a very, very wide group of leaders. Everyone in his field is a leader, and we are sharing this leadership. But this is very important to state. Okay. And these photos are just samples, but we have hundreds of people here joining us. Okay, that's very good. But we probably need to be more if we want to make a bigger effect. So, Hilaria, your turn.
Yes, the concept we try to develop of share the leadership means that there's no only one single actor that is leading the process, but everyone is taking part in the process, and I mean believing in the process. So the process itself is leading us throughout, also looking for solution. And as you see in this picture, you have that the starting point we do is understanding reality, so making a reality check with conceptual framework and collective analysis and understanding of what is happening, what happens. Then we focus on the needs, identify the bottlenecks and the problem, so focusing to make them clear in order then to identify potential solutions. And also in this step, we do a rapid collective brainstorming in order to identify both short-term actions and reactions and long-term vision. Then the most important thing, we transfer and act, immediately bringing back solution to our daily context, both getting feedbacks and giving feedbacks. So it is a sort of a loop process, because each stakeholder is involved, also without, I mean, taking part in these call conferences of the morning, but anyway, all the voices of the territories are here included. So it's a very inclusive process. Another important key element is the cross-sectoral contribution from people all over the Europe. So it's a gathering of multi-level competencies and knowledge that come together, strung together in order to take part in this process. So this is what we would like to mean as share the leadership, because really it's a daily process and so effective for me, for sure, but we see that we are really achieving result and concrete actions.
Thank you very much. So we have created spaces to share knowledge and to dialogue. Okay, we have first our networks that are quite strong. I mean, not only the networks from the clusters and ecosystems, but also from those of the respective different agents, meaning the network from coronavirus makers in Spain, for example, is something like 15,000 volunteers, okay? Or from Frena la Curva, or from the different national cluster networks, okay? We have our daily video conference, but thanks to Ula's team, thanks to the ECCP, there is also one space, one forum that we use to collect and try to answer needs and proposals, okay? We are for sure using our email list capacities, and I know that for a fact that we are using our newsletters to distribute information all across Europe, okay? We have an internal space for working. It's on Slack. Every one of you is invited, okay? And for sure, we are also transmitting data from social network. This is not just the video conferences, okay? Important to say, but this space to exchange the video conferences, I think it's in fact quite important, because it's the opportunity to share in a very dynamic way knowledge and opportunities and opinions and so on. So we have been until now organizing 27 sessions with the intervention of 224 different people, okay, different persons, and globally 755 attendants. Okay, the list is there. It's good to document it. And thanks to Gilles, I don't know if Gilles is here or not, okay, but thanks to Gilles, we decided to yes, Gilles is here. So 1 minute for you, Gilles. Why do we decide to follow this scheme?
Hello, everyone.
Hello,
thank you, Antonio. You mean we decided to follow the Gilles rules? I don't like the name, but
yes, I see.
It was funny for my wife to read that. No, but because we are a lot of people today, we are 48. In this context, it's more and more difficult. More we are to have pragmatic and concrete and concrete actions. And at the beginning, it was very good. We had very good sessions, but we did not get the opportunity to hear all experts present in the call, in the session. For example, let me give you one or two examples. During the 3D printing sessions, or for respirator sessions, I invited two experts with a great added value, I think, for the session. But as we had a structure in the plan, it did not give the opportunity to them to speak and to let all know what they can offer and what are their expertise. In this context, it was a proposition to Antonio and Nina, is to give a better structure with the expressions of needs, first of all, and in a second time to have the expressions of the solutions compared with the needs we just heard before. And I think it was quite useful, because last week's session and the week before were very good, and I think we we had the time to hear everybody, and I also saw in the conversation, in the written conversation on the right of my screen, that some people share the contact details because the objective of the session we have every morning is really to make people talking to each other, not in details, because we do not need all the same details, but it's just to make all of us aware of what it exists and what are the potential solutions for Spain in one side, for Italy from the other side, for Belgium. But still, it was a proposition because we are a lot, and I'm very happy to see that the figure of the participation is growing. And I think in a second phase, when the crisis will be behind us, if we continue this kind of session for the after crisis session and the sharing of good practice, I think it will be very useful.
I totally agree. It was a wonderful suggestion and it's working very well. Thank you. Merci beaucoup, Gilles. I see that Slavek Tokarski has now the microphone on. Hello?
Yes, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we are glad to hear you.
Hola, Antonio, encantado de verte porque me han hablado mucho de ti, entonces. Bueno, so good morning, everybody. Sorry for those technical glitches that I had, and I'm very happy to be with you for the first time, but certainly not for the last time. And maybe I shall start by telling you a big thank you for what you did so far. It is something that is really, I mean, impressive, and at the same time, we all have a feeling here in the Commission that by working with you, we create something new. We create something new that is worthwhile not only to use now, as I think one of the colleagues said just before a second, but also to take it over even when the crisis is finished. And I'd like maybe to use this 3 minutes of my time now to a little bit ask you in the context of what is coming now in the Commission, to ask you maybe 2-3 questions to get like first ideas from you, or maybe to start reflection on this. And clearly these are linked to 2 issues, to exit strategy, the immediate, and to recovery strategy, the next step after that. So if from our perspective we look at the type of functionalities that we will need for the successful exit strategy, I see at least 2 or 3 of them where it would be very useful to get the information, to talk to you, to discuss with you. And one is certainly a rapid alert function, which is something that should tell us very quickly where are the critical bottlenecks, what's the situation with value chain disruptions, how we could actually patch the missing elements in value chains when resuming economic activity now. So that is first function, this rapid alert function, where we all have the feeling that rather than going a traditional way, we are in front of you, of all this network, of all this web of people where you can react much more quickly than otherwise. The second point would be that is the Commission is trying to launch a sort of antitrust guidance, in a sense that if the firms now for some amount of time need to cooperate much more closely, and maybe even to the extent that goes below the competition rules, the Commission will try to give you a sort of comfort, saying that this type of cooperation is okay, you can do that. So again, here, if you could identify and signalize to us those potential areas of cooperation, we should be able to respond quite quickly. And then certainly the third one, which is already going very well, it's about PPE. So this is about exit strategy. This is about the immediate. Now, if I think about recovery strategy, we are still, there is a lot of uncertainties, but the issue is certainly that if there is money available in the end, however we call it, from wherever it comes, then there will be an issue of where this money should go to make sense to the European economy, to make sense to European society. What type of financial products would be best suited in order to reignite the economy activity? And here again, I would be very happy, and we all would be very happy to engage with you and listen to you and discuss with you, and maybe even go beyond that. But for this, we still need a little bit to see how the situation develops. So this is something what I would like to say now. Thank you.
You are really welcome. And we need to think on that. We will work on that. We have done some work before, but I think that it's very good to have those challenges or points to think about. Yeah. This is part of what we have been thinking about during the past sessions. Okay, this graph in the screen is kind of a summary. Okay, we will go through every one of the concepts that you see there. So the proposal for today, just to be very quick on those in the review of those concepts. Okay, because we don't have so many minutes, but anyway, we will think about your challenges. So the idea is to review them from the perspective of the blocks of needs, solution, and acts. And the first one is to speak about the new effective networks. Okay, we think that we need a new approach and a comprehensive approach as the continuous represent this group. Okay, so the main idea is that to improve the European ability to answer the crisis through new effective networks, we need to link civil society, social and industry clusters, and public bodies sharing leadership. And this is what we are doing. The needs are to quickly learn from the best practice of others. And there is a good example that we were speaking at the beginning of this session. No? The quick transfer of mass regulation from France to Spain in a question of days. This is critical at this moment. It's saving lives. This is what we are doing also in other contexts. There are another examples. Okay. For example, the need to improve the quick use of open designs on models of respirators or models of mass and so on. So we have, for example, in some countries, agree on a common library of 3D printed models. We have shared analytics about them. We have shared reports about how to clean. We were speaking before about how to clean. Okay, and we are sharing resources. Okay, we are sharing resources on information, on logistic networks, on key contacts, not only in the same country, but also through different countries. Okay, that's a good example of how we reach for the France Agency of Armaments just to retrieve the reports on analytics for mask in just 2 hours through the contact between Spain and the European, the French Association of Pôle de Compétitivité. Okay, so this is what we are doing. There is also a need to map and link European industrial capacities and link them to the public procurers. I will invite Anais to speak about that. Anais, will you comment on that?
Hi, good morning. Yes, I can comment on that. I think basically what we try to do there is to looking at the PPE and the public procurement. I think the last few weeks there was a lot of discussion in trying to, let's say, bridge gaps and make contacts between different ecosystems. I think there was, as it says here, there's a need to support that and to understand better where are the resources and where people can contact with each other. So and within the health clusters, I can give the example that we do. So I manage the network of European bioregions, and we also have a call every Thursday for this. And actually, I bring back what we discuss in our group every morning to the other clusters. And there we also share needs amongst us. So there was some example of, for example, Italian clusters looking for a concrete material, and some German cluster could help. So this is the type of things that we are doing, but there's more work obviously to be done in that, and especially the link to public procurers, because they're very, very busy at this moment, especially in the health sector, trying to find and buy protective equipments. But there will be also midterm and long run in terms of public procurement. So if that's more or less what you want me to explain, but we are working on it, and I think the health sector, it is critical at this point.
It's still critical. I was speaking at the beginning of the session that is still critical. Ramon, would you comment on how do you facilitate the link here, Ramon? No, it's not here. Okay, so we will continue. Very important point, but we should review a lot of things. New flexible value chains. It's clear that we cannot depend on other non-European regions as we are depending now. I think that everyone agrees on that, and it's clear also that we need, at this moment, we need to flexibilize our industry capacities in order to provide for example, hundreds of millions of masks that we will need during the next weeks. Okay, so there is a need to identify new priorities, map the value chains, also for matchmakers, for especially in this moment that everything is so urgent, we need to strengthen the possibility to cross-link value chains and modify them. I think that Dolores, are you there? Dolores is a very, very good example of what we are doing in that field. Are you there, Dolores? I hear noise. No, there are problems with the sound. Okay, anyway, we propose, and we think that we are online with the general thinking and the Commission, is that we need to build that upon more greener and more digitalized regions inside Europe. Okay, so it's not only about flexible, it is also about green. It's also about linking social economy with those new value chains. Okay, because this link has demonstrated to be especially important during this crisis. So we need to strengthen that capacities of linking society and industry. Okay, on that. Key technologies. Key technologies are being critical at this moment. Not only 3D printing, but mainly 3D printing. Okay, I say that because advanced textiles and materials are being critical also now, and for the societal crisis, educational training methodologies are critical also for our society. So it's not only about 3D printing, but 3D printing is critical also. And we have here a very good expert, Joke, I hope.
Yes, I'm here. I'm here.
So, 1 minute, Joke. How would you summarize the role of 3D printing in the actual crisis?
I think if you can see what's happening around the world with advanced manufacturing, including additive manufacturing, which is 3D printing, then there's so many things that are being innovated and being done right now in terms of respirators, in terms of every kind of help that you can see. And I also see a lot of open source designs. So it's not just about pushing a button to duplicate a product. It's also about new innovations in a sense. Also capable to fit for particular cultures or particular contexts.
And we have had, I need to say, very big problems with homologations processes. So at the beginning of the session, we spoke about the need to create innovative ways of work, or perhaps modify or innovate on policy making. Okay, but we need to think about that, because at this moment the homologation processes are too slow, and there are very good solutions that are being stopped, not by lack of quality or by lack of design, but for procedures. So we need to think about that. And the proposal, there is a very clear proposal over the table, is to emulate, copy what is happening in USA, and create a peer-to-peer review association, or I don't know, it could be under the umbrella of the European Cluster Alliance, that will be very serious and very professional in the approach, but can perhaps in very quick ways develop proposals to be delivered to the homologations authorities, and shorten the steps to really reach a proof model in the market. But to do that, we need to create the association, we need to link with the homologation authorities, and perhaps we should think on something at the European level, some kind of quick homologation at the European level, just to improve the speed on our answers. Okay, this is for us one of the really important steps to take. Okay, and we are willing to speak a little more on that if you want. Okay, not only for 3D printing, it could be something very similar on advanced material or textile and so on. Okay. Next one is about funding mechanisms. Ilaria, would you comment on that? Or Veronica? I don't know if Veronica is here. Sorry. Veronica, would you comment on that?
Yes. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, we have tried to identify clearly the actual funds that the European Commission and also our governments have tried to give at the disposal. So we do thank, of course, the great commitment and quick commitment of the European Commission. Coming to DG Regio and structural funds, we have asked some clarification because there was a kind of a misunderstanding from, the first announcement of the 37 billion euros available, and the communication chain on the territories. So currently, coming to Italy, we are expecting our government to take a decision of how to use them, because at the end, the region that had effectively used the structural funds have no budget availability on that instrument, for instance. So it's up in this case to the government to decide a wider framework of support to all territories of the country. Coming to the 500 million euros cited some weeks ago by Ulla, that should also pass through possibly through clusters. We are, as you see, really ready to give our support whatever the target of that budget would be. And we are also following and focusing what every country is doing with special state aid that the European Commission has allowed. So basically, we see guarantees schemes that are trying to help liquidity in companies, mostly SMEs. But we are facing, of course, it depends on the individual countries. Again, I speak as Italy. We see bottlenecks in the administration procedures in the banks. So still, we are identifying some bottlenecks and try to suggest to the other countries possible solutions to better deal with the issue. So this is.
Yeah. I will reinforce the message. The feeling or the information that we are receiving from the companies is that this is a mess and they don't have enough information, and there is a lot of misunderstanding and not efficiency in the application of the capacities or the resources that that are on the market, or they are liberated by the European Commission. This is important to say very clearly, and this is affecting a lot our businesses. And we are doing a wonderful work, because in fact we are distributing this information, but we need to improve that very, very clearly, because it's critical. We had a session 3 or 4 days ago about back to work. We have a testimony from a company, an industrial company, saying that everything is stopped because they have a big liquidity problems. They are not taking stocks. They are not making new products because they don't have the resources. Perhaps the resources should be there, but we need. That's one of the reasons that why we should increase the reach or the capacity of this kind of group, or this same group, and including then the European regions and the funding agencies, and try to clarify. I don't know, perhaps everything is clear for them, but not for us and not for the companies. That's really, really critical. So, about the skills gap. Aurora, would you comment on that, Aurora? Are you there?
Sorry, I had difficulties on connecting the sound. Well, one of the things that was identified, not only for COVID, even before for the preparation for Industry 4.0, is that the main thing is always social and skilling. Tools are quick to get, not in this moment, but usually yes. And if you learn, you get there, but you have to prepare people. And now it is the moment also. We need to take advantage of this difficulty, to have people training, to have people not forgetting what they're learning, because for instance, being working at a distance is new for a lot of people, but they're doing alone, and sometimes there are opportunities even on voluntary work. We spoke about an example of software companies that, while not having clients work, they appoint their people to be like, they said that a very interesting name, personal trainers for teachers, for instance. And so reskilling is really something to fight unemployment, also because a lot of people has just become unemployed. Some companies just close their doors, and the employees that were on partial time or not yet contracted on a full version, they just became unemployed. So we have to use this time to fight unemployment and prepare people.
Yeah, and there is a good example also with the need of training the people on healthcare system, those that are making public procurement, on train them on skills on supply chain management.
Yeah.
Very practical point, but it's critical at this moment, and it was raised by Ramon Garcia. I see that Ramon is not here. It was before. Okay, but it's for example a very concrete point, because they are overflown now, and if we are able to provide them with better tools and better training and better capacities, some big part of the crisis now, it's that links, that supply chain.
Yeah.
Okay, back to work. Who wants to comment on that?
Please, Jorge.
This is Jorge González from Spain. This for us is very important. We are thinking on a project right now on how to support companies to provide guarantees for their employees to be safety and to be safe regarding COVID, and also how to exchange information between the company and the employees. So that for us is very, very important, because we think it will help not only to keep the safety and health, but also because it will support the economic recovery of Europe in general. So we are actually currently thinking about that. It's very important for us.
It was very, very stressed during past sessions that there is a need for clear procedures, clear policies, some kind of a clear framework for companies, because now the lack of information is also critical. And I don't know in other countries, I think that it's happening in some countries, but for example, here in Spain, there are big problems to reach for the public authorities. The sample was 6 hours by phone trying to contact them continuously, just to reach for one person that told told them that he didn't know, and please call tomorrow. So this is important. This is very important. We need to define a clear framework of a regulation and provide enough resources for companies to know it, understand it, adapt it, and have as much as possible or create a plan to be safety in that plan. Okay. And there is also a very, very big problems around the production and logistic planification. There is a big problem with the ports and the capacity to import and export between countries or from other regions, and there will be a big accumulation of needs or trucks or boats in whenever this situation is improves. Okay, and we need also to planify that carefully. And the sensation is that this is not happening. Could be a sensation, but it doesn't appear that there are plans on that. Okay, so we offer our collaboration also on that. And about policy innovation, we were speaking before about the need to improve the homologation processes, the public procurement processes, the funding schemes. Perhaps we should also think about how to innovate on the support to this kind of groups, for example. Okay, Carlos, would you comment on that, Carlos Trias, from the European Economic and Social Committee? No, we are not hearing you, Carlos. You need to put your mic on. No, not yet. If not, we could return to you later. Okay. So,
Antonio, this is Jorge again. Regarding the policy innovation, I think is one of the things that is critical is that with this new fund that is expected to come through the structural funds, that new ways to put the money in work are thought and proposed and that go beyond the typical instruments that are, for example, regional development agencies have. You know that there is at least in Spain a working group that we are going to think about that. But I think it's critical that regional development agencies also are facilitated to think about out-of-the-box approaches that go beyond the traditional ERDF instruments that they usually apply.
Thank you. Perfect. Carlos, can you speak now or no? Yeah? No. You should put the mic on. No. It's not working yet. Okay, we continue. Ilaria, would you comment on new evaluation approach?
Yes. Here we have talked about how actually as lesson learned, we are realizing that these networks has a really great value. And at the same time, we can say that there is not the same quantitative indicators in order to track results, because there is a very strong qualitative result in that is related to the value of the network and all the intangible assets we are creating among us. Mainly, this is the critical point. I mean that we are seeing a lot of changes in the way people need to work, in the way schools are teaching, in a lot of changes in all the contexts, and we see that there's a need also for great changes in the evaluation processes and in the public policy we talked just before. So this could be only a sort of inspirational, issue in order to don't forget then how to track the result, how to, set and give money investment to a specific issue and solutions with new approaches to evaluate the results.
Okay, perfect. I have wrote in the chat the phone number to call if you want to access through the phone and the access code. Okay. Lucia, I don't know if you are asking for participating. Lucia?
Yes, I'm here.
Do you want to participate? Because I see in the chat that you are asking.
No, I don't think.
Okay. Okay.
It was me. No, not now, but later
okay.
maybe.
Okay. Thank you.
Antonio,
Carlos.
I want to add, sorry, Antonio, I just want to add the issue of social economy and social companies that we have been talked a lot in these days, and all the energies that are rising up from the bottom, because this was another element considered in this topic, the evaluation approach and public policy innovation. I mean that Now we are seeing that solutions comes from the bottom, from the concrete and the daily life and the daily context we are seeing. So it's really good to think about new models in, I mean, mixed top-down and bottom-up policy that balance together all the levels, because we see that solutions now are coming from the low level.
Maybe if you allow me to say something, because I think this is a very new and different and reacting to the spirit of the times we're living direction that we're going. And it's about the value of networks. And speaking about evaluation, I think in the past the evaluation was more on the regional impact or on the local, let's say, direct impact of the network where it is. And right now we have the possibility of looking at the value of networks by looking at the interconnections between the networks. If we're addressing the value chain connection and the networks, it's not just the impact we're having or looking at the let's say unilateral impact of one single networks, but we look at the power of interconnected networks that we are right now, actually showcasing at the pan-European level. I think it will also be helpful in the new development of the cluster collaboration platform, where we're intending to display where these networks are, how broad they are, where they're active, and putting them on the map as networks, not just like the name and their position, but also looking into an interconnected way how the networks are correlated one with each other, and therefore displaying, for example, in the health system, who is actually connected with who at the network level. So I think the dialogue right now goes into more looking at the broader, not just at the singular powerful impact of a cluster or of a network, but at this intercorrelated, aggregated networks existing there, and using these networks, to reach the objectives in solving problems and challenges and supporting the industry to recover.
Thank you, Lucia. Carlos, can you speak now? No, your mic is off, I think. Could you? No. You should activate the sound. I think that you have the mic off. Carlos, can you speak now? No, I don't know why, but no. Perhaps your mic is off in the phone. No, I don't know why. Okay, so we continue. This is the it has been a very quick work, so I'm not sure about this. Frankly speaking, I haven't been able to identify everyone, but this is more or less the distribution of the participation on this group. Okay, I think that we need to improve it. Okay, it's true that it's higher on those countries that are having more problems with the COVID. I think that's natural. Okay, and the participation from France, Italy, Portugal, and Spain is quite significant. Okay, but for sure we should. I see that we need to work just to have more participation from the rest of the countries, especially because, for example, Germany has a lot of possible solutions for us. Okay, and I think that it's in our best interest to integrate them. Okay, to promote them, their participation, and that is the last slide. Okay, it's a question: what is needed to make this work sustainable and scalable? So,
yeah. Sorry, Antonio, I just wanted to add, because on the map that you show, and that relates to this last question, I think, and what Lucia was saying about the networks of networks. So obviously direct, let's say, participants in this call is more or less what you show on the map. But I want to say that, for example, through the networks, through CBER, for example, it reaches out to more countries and more people. And for example, in Germany, there we have, I think, 4 or 5 clusters that are member of the association, and they also get all the information. So I think that's also important. And I think all of us, we do that somehow. It's true that CBER is an organized network. So we have already our ways, let's say, structured, but I think it's nice because of that, because the work that is being done in this group is actually going further, and people are listening. Maybe not as active, but normally I ask all the members when they have ideas and I bring it back to the group. So I think that way also we don't need to be, let's say, 200 people every morning, but the work that is done is being scaled. So I think that's already one step of what we are doing.
Very, very good precision. Nice.
Yeah, and I see some of them here in the room today, so it's it's great. Thank you.
You are really welcome. And it's true that I participated also in one of your video conference, and we promote the participation of this group in your weekly video conference. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Yeah. So it's 9:30. We would like to hear your opinion, Slavek, if you don't mind. What are your impressions? Or what I know that you have given us 3 keys to work on, but would you give us your feedback?
Yeah, yes, sure. I mean, well, I need to reflect a bit as you need to reflect on the questions I asked, but I think in some cases there is ongoing work at the Commission that could actually be helpful for you concerning, for example, the homologation issue. Also, in terms of public procurement, we will connect to our colleagues from the directorate responsible for public procurement and pass your comments concerning the training for health sector and innovative procurement, and I think that is something that quite quickly could be done. I was wondering a bit about the comment on liquidity and availability of funding, in a sense that we also met with colleagues from Regio, and there was a discussion with inter alia Spanish and Italian, Greek and French managing authority on Friday, I think. And the issue was indeed how to make this availability of structural funds sensible, in a sense, to avoid spraying thinly money around, but rather to focus on some sort of help that would really make most sense, and also a product, because I see a bit of opportunity. That's something also I would like to ask you. When you're talking about giving liquidity, can't we look into the way of giving this liquidity so that at the same time it fosters digital and green transformation? I mean, every company is to a certain extent desperate now, so they will take whatever it is, but perhaps we could actually combine the two. So this is a sort of quick reaction I have now. I just to come back to what I said in the beginning, indeed. And the last question is very, very pertinent. How to make all this work, which is inspiring, which is great, and I believe very much in this mix of bottom up and top down, because I mean, simply put, the reality is so complex that there is no way we can get it right from top down. There is no way. So, and I don't have a quick answer for this, but this question, sustainability and scalability, should somewhat guide us in all the work we are taking now, and we should keep this perspective in our minds whatever we do. So this is my sort of quick reaction, and thank you very much for inviting me, and thank you that I could participate.
Right. If I may, this is Jorge Gonzalez from TPMed Spain. We have been in a project that has used an approach that is demand-driven and co-creation for the production of innovation. The project is in demand. I put here in the chat the link, and I can share for example, the challenges that have been tackled, and we are leveraging structural funds to do this connection between the needs of the customers with the technical capabilities of the companies. So if that can help, we are happy to share. This is a project coordinated by EASME, and we are in the second cycle now of doing this approach. It's done in 3 countries, and there are other regions that they are leveraging their own structural funds to follow the same model. We have 11 regions outside the project using the model, and I'll be happy to share the insights and the learnings that we are also sharing with the European Commission, only at the EASME level.
My comment, we have delivered a proposal to create a task force, so to give this group or something similar to this group to give the opportunity to have the enough resources to, for example, deeply study every one of the main topics, to create subgroups, just to develop clear proposals, and to be able, for example, to register everything that we are putting together, because as now it's a voluntary group and we are spending a lot of hours, but it will be far more productive if we give the opportunity to have technical office, some kind of daily registry, the resources or the background of your support, official support, to link or to invite other DGs or the other authorities, for example, the regional agencies, to this group. It will be far more effective, and I think that we have a clear proposal on that fact. We have also the support from the European Economic and Social Committee. It's a pity that Carlos is not able to speak. Carlos, last try? No, it's impossible. But no, I don't know why. But I know that Carlos from the European Economic and Social Committee is very invested in this support. Okay. And we will reach far better results that way. Ula, would you comment? I would like to hear you.
Yeah, thanks. I received your proposal, and we are internally also working what mechanism we can use, because in order to support it, we would need to find budget, and this is what we are internally within the group now, within my group, looking at, and that's why I also haven't gone back to you, because this kind of solutions, I mean, when money is involved, you need a very sustainable proposal. So also sustainable from our side, what we can propose, and we are working on it. But I cannot yet tell you what the exact solution is, because we are on it. And I think definitely it's a good idea, but we need to find the right fund where to get the money from.
Thank you very much, Ula. And we are also nominated, the cluster are nominated as part of the rapid alert function, I think it's called, but we don't have information what that means, who will be involved.
Antonio, we have to propose what it means. So also there, we are working on it, but if you have elements for that, and that was also what Slavek was asking, if you have elements how this rapid alert function could look like, we would take it, and that's why it would be good also to have maybe a dedicated meeting quickly now, that we can then feed it in the policy process.
That's very important. So please send us, Ula, the proposed date. We will do it as soon as you want, because it's critical also to understand that and to make use of it. Thank you very much.
Okay,
so
we have a meeting afterwards, and in the afternoon.
Perfect. Thank you. So it's time to close, I think. Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. I think it has been a very Karel, I would like to hear you before finish, because I think you have been a very, very great addition to this group. And as Ilaria said, social economy is being critical. Your area is being critical in the solution of all these urgent needs of our society. So I would like to hear you before closing.
Thanks, Antonio. That's very kind of you. But actually, many things regarding social economy, not in broad sense, but the most important key aspect was already told is that these worlds should really get more in touch with each other. And of course, the local level is the most suitable for that, but also in higher levels. If we see how, and that's a point I keep on repeating, but it's really important, how, as you said in your introduction, this open source movement is suddenly delivering a lot of input for local SMEs. Or as Eva already said, this open source community becomes the European-wide R&D center for many SMEs to help them develop these medical equipment, PPE, etc. So that is a clear notion that this world can contribute a lot, but that is more on the medical part and the urgency response, but also in the longer term, I really would like to foster and to see more collaboration, because also in the social needs, SMEs have also not only a responsibility, but something they really can contribute. Last week we have presented the cluster from Torino, which is for me basically the blueprint how every cluster could work. And that's not only on sectoral competitiveness, but it's really like the creation of local economic and social prosperity. If you see what they are doing, they are not only social enterprises, they are a mix of regular SMEs, regular industry, civil society, social enterprises, but also the local government is clearly engaged. And that is, it's really a promising model for the future of clusters. So also the work that David, for example, was explaining 2 weeks ago, that is the blueprint of how a European coder and an online digital network of commons should interact with very local clusters, very local SMEs, because today, and that's my own opinion, is that SMEs are giving away, and I heard it many times before, too much of their R&D capacity, and maybe to make it more efficient, these commons might help them with that. And one last point I would like to add, and that is something I highlighted slightly last week, is this role of local value chains, because you see that the global ones are much disrupted today, that many supplies are not getting to where they are needed, that local, let's say, ad hoc and very responsive value chains need to be set up. And maybe we should value these a little bit more, not because they are probably not the most cost efficient or not yet, but they bring the immediate need for society. And you don't need to do this for every product, for every industrial capacity, but at least for the basic goods, the most strategic sectors should have some minimum capacity locally, because otherwise we will get in trouble. Just to give you one example, now we are talking about the respirators, but what if another crisis happens in future, that, for example, you need a lot of kidney support pumps. I'm just inventing something today. Then we will have all open source facilities for respirators, but not for us, for a next one. So in this range of medical supplies, there is much more than we have today in our capacity, that we should somehow foresee a basic capacity. And that is what we might overlook, because it's not because the COVID is happening today and some needs are attached to that, that tomorrow something else might happen, so that we don't need to be reliable always on very remote or long distance value chains. But I will stop because I'm going too much in detail. But thanks for giving me the floor. I'm really appreciating. And good luck. Let's continue.
You are of great value. Thank you, everybody. I think it's time to close. Thank you, especially Slavek, Tokarski, and Ula, or everybody. You are really making something very important at this moment. Bye. See you soon, I hope.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Bom dia. Obrigada.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thanks
Thank
a lot.
you.
Bye.
Bye. Have a good day.
Bye. Thanks a lot.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye. Thanks. Bye bye.